Ever since the box office hit Flashdance back in 1983, director ADRIAN LYNE has been steaming up the silver screen. In his latest sizzler, Indecent Proposal, he turns up the heat on Robert Redford and Demi Moore.
Why don't you put it on? It suits you.
Well, I can't afford it.
That's too bad.
Yep.
I really think you ought to have the dress. Let me buy it for you.
You want to buy me this dress?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I've enjoyed watching you. You've earned it.
No, I haven't. The dress is for sale. I'm not.
LYNE's dark psychological drama could be a breakthrough role for actress Demi Moore, and it marks the return of Robert Redford to leading man status. ADRIAN LYNE, the man who also gave us Fatal Attraction in 9.5 weeks. It's good to see you again. Good morning. Welcome.
Hello. Lovely to see you.
What attracted you to this movie?
Well, I was in France, you know. I lead this kind of schizophrenic existence. I live here when I'm shooting, and I live in France when I'm not. So everything gets sent there, you know, these screenplays and stuff. So I read it, and I thought it was a great read, and I thought it was an interesting premise that people would argue about, this idea of sleeping with somebody for $1 million for the night.
In fact, ADRIAN, that's the premise of the entire movie. So let's take a look at the married couple played by Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson as they get an offer they can't refuse from millionaire Robert Redford in Indecent Proposal.
Well, some things aren't for sale.
Such as?
But you can't buy people.
That's naive, Diana. I'd buy people every day.
Oh, well, in business maybe, but not when real emotions are involved.
So what are you saying? You can't buy love? That's a bit of a cliche, don't you think?
It's absolutely true.
Is it? What do you think?
I agree with Diana.
You do? Well, let's test the cliche. Suppose I were to offer you $1 million for one night with your wife.
Is that, ADRIAN, basically the moral lesson here, that some things can't be bought?
Well, I would hate to moralize. I don't think it's my position to do that, but you could draw that conclusion if you like. You know, this is a couple who are down on their luck in Las Vegas. They go to Las Vegas to try and turn $5,000 into $50, and of course they lose it all. And they meet Robert Redford, who makes this proposal. And then they lie awake at night thinking about whether they can deal with it, you know, whether they can pretend it happened before their marriage and they'll never talk about it, you know. And I think it's an interesting premise for a movie, and one which people already seem to disagree about very strongly. I mean, some ladies, I ask if they would do it, you know, if they would spend the night with somebody for $1 million, they instantly say they would do it, especially if it was Robert Redford. they say that they would do it for $5,000 or for nothing, you know. But the other half get very defensive.
The movie is quite erotic in many places.
Good, I hope so. Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Is it me, or have you noticed sort of a trend in movies? Now, obviously, Honeymoon in Vegas is a very different feel, but that is, again, about a millionaire buying a woman. Mad Dog and Glory has sort of the same idea. Yeah. Do you think that's kind of a troubling trend in movies? It sort of seems fairly anti-woman, doesn't it?
Well, you know, I do think that in my movie, anyway, this is a decision that they make jointly. In fact, really, it's her decision, I think, in the end. So you know, I always had a kind of a push and pull struggle with Demi, you know, during the movie. She would always want to make this woman strong, you know, and I was anxious that she shouldn't be tough, but be perceived to be tough, you know. So I'd always try and pull her towards the vulnerable, you know.
Did you know right away you wanted Robert Redford to play, we should have said billionaire, because he was a billionaire,
no,
and Demi Moore and Woody Harrelson to play the couple?
No, I always see everybody. I always kind of play the field, you know. I always, just to kind of torture myself, you know. You know, I saw Demi Moore after I'd seen a lot of other actresses, and she came in and she lay on the carpet. It was funny. We had a scene, the scene in the bed when they're deciding whether they're going to do this proposal. We acted out with an actor on the carpet, and she had this lovely kind of womanly quality. I thought that she'd kind of turned the corner as an actress. I'd heard that Robert Redford was interested, or might be interested in the movie.
Because initially you wanted Warren Beatty, is that right?
Well, I talked to Warren Beatty, and he was interested for a while, and then he kind of moved on, you know, as he can do. And then I heard that Robert Redford might be interested, and I thought, well, that's wrong, you know, because he's the last person on earth who you would think would spend $1 million for the night with a lady. And then I thought, well, that's much more interesting in a sense.
Would you let your wife spend the night with another man for $1 million?
I knew you were going to ask that. Happily, I can wriggle out of it because I don't need the money, you know? But I
Come on, if you did need the money.
But I guess, listen, I can think of worse things for people to do, you know, give pleasure to somebody for a night.
That's a yes?
No, it ain't a yes, but I can think of worse things.
Adrian Lyne, the movie is Indecent Proposal. Great to talk to you this morning. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure.
We'll be back after this. This is Today on NBC.
Warner Cable lets you see the world's most exciting places and events from your easy chair. And if you enter $1 million fantasy sweepstakes, you might get to visit one in person. Right now, installation is only 99 cents. Plus, you get a 30-day trial of HBO or Cinemax. Just call 1-800-293-CABLE. So you'll have lots of great programs to watch when you get back.
Behind me is the Justice Facility housing hundreds of prisoners. Jim Blask is running for judge. Jim Blask can provide swift justice for victims, law enforcement, and the community. Send a message for swift justice. Vote Jim Blask for judge on April 6th. Authorized and paid for by James F. Blask for judge, Carol A. Blask, treasurer.
The Carriage House is more than fine Ethan Allen furniture. Much more. It's elegant wall coverings, decorative accents, window treatments, lamps and lighting. And the Carriage House's people, design professionals to help you pull it all together. And their services are free. The Carriage House, Milwaukee's only Ethan Allen gallery. Brookfield, Greenfield, and Mequon.
Linda Cross. She's a teacher. Dad says this Benson guy has a lot of special interest money, and he's been saying mean things on TV about Mrs. Cross. That makes me mad. Us kids say, don't pay attention to this stuff. Mom says Mrs. Cross will make schools better. Mr. Benson wants things to stay the same. And you know what that means. On April 6th, vote Linda Cross for state superintendent. She's endorsed by kids everywhere.
'90-year-old Marita Welch survived the rigors of skydiving, but is being challenged by the rigors of television this morning. We understand our audio capabilities are back up. Mrs. Welch, you're back with me?
Yes, I am.
I'm sorry for that little problem.
No problem.
How scared were you when you decided to skydive?
I really wasn't scared at all. I wasn't scared going up. In fact, I thought it wasn't as thrilling as I thought it would be, but I was a little more uneasy coming down. But it just all went so smooth that really it was great.
Now we're watching you jump out right here. What are you thinking as you're coming down?
I'm thinking, am I going to land or am I going to mash, you know?
And you have, I understand, a plastic hip and a plastic knee, so your instructor had to help you with the landing, huh?
Right, a little. And he was very good, and he was just a great, great gentleman. He really was.
Was that the toughest part of it, the landing?
Yes, I'd say it was definitely the toughest. And I think maybe I made it such because of my knee and my hip, you know.
Yeah. You told me, you said you weren't scared. You weren't even scared a little bit?
No, I wasn't a little bit scared even.
You mean when the plane was up there and they opened the door, you didn't once turn around to your instructor and say, wait a second, let's talk this over. I'm not sure this is a great idea.
No, I really was anxious to get out to see what it felt like. When I came out, it really took my breath at first, you know. But
Yeah.
after that, everything was just great. We turned upside down a couple of times, but that was all right.
Is this something now you want to try again?
Well, I would, but you know, I told them, I said, if I ever get enough pennies saved, I'll do it again, you know.
Because it's pretty expensive, huh?
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah?
is. For a few minutes, you know. But it was fun. It really was fun.
I'm glad you're laughing about it. What are your plans for your 91st birthday?
Well, I haven't made any yet, but I thought maybe at 95 I'd have time to think something up, you know.
I understand. Come on back and tell us about it. Miss Marita Welch, thank you very much.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
You take care. Again, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I love her. What a pistol. I was worried about whether I was going to land or whether I was going to mash.
She wasn't even scared.
I know, not one bit. I would have been petrified. I would never have done that.
Well,
anyway, I'm risk averse, as they say.
They'd have to push me. It's marvelous.
Yeah, isn't she great?
We've got her back in 5 years. See
Yeah,
what she did?
absolutely. Next year.
Does it for us. We got to get on out of here. Have a good Tuesday.